All right, guys, welcome back to the Soapbox. I think we're on episode 9 now, which is pretty awesome. So I want to chat a little bit about how to get your veteran members at your gym new skills, how to get them better, for lack of a better way to put it, and also, how not to lose your 4, 5, 6, 7 year veteran CrossFit members. So, and I think it kind of dovetails into what our discussion was last time on getting better and being humble to get feedback. So right now, we're in the day and age of 10-year plus CrossFit affiliates, which is so awesome. And I've had the opportunity to go to a lot of gyms and be around a lot of gyms and be around some of the best coaches in the world, as well as be around some coaches that do struggle as well, and be around gyms that are successful but also have a good amount of shortcomings as well. And I think that it's a slippery slope, right? Because if you were to ask me the one question of, what are most gyms really in need of? And I was talking to one of my buddies, and, it's like, if I were to do a summit of all affiliates, out there that would want to, come and listen to Austin, I don't know why you would, but if we were, what would we do? It would be twofold. One, which we won't talk about on this episode, is how to run a business more effectively, efficiently, and how to essentially just run a business healthily, not run an emotional operation, just to run a true business. And then from there, how to be a better coach. Those two things are where we see a lot of people woefully lacking. So, how not to lose your 5-year member. How not to lose your 5-year veteran, your 10-year veteran. And what this simply means is we need our coaches. You need to get better at coaching. So just think about this. CrossFit's an effective program, and at its base level, implemented poorly with poor programming will get you better, right? So just because your people are getting better to a certain degree in the beginning doesn't mean what you're doing is optimized, doesn't mean that there isn't room for improvement. But as we progress, and you guys know this, think about your members that have been coming to your gym forever, and they just sort of, unfortunately, the monotony of CrossFit creeps in, and that's almost of an oxymoron where, I found CrossFit as a Globo gym rat, and I loved it because it was so different. It was so challenging, and I was awful at so many different things. And I started to learn new skills. I started to learn, and it was challenging. It was humbling. It was satisfying. There were so many things that I loved about it, but I was learning new things and getting new skills and PRing not only lifts and times and reps, but also actual movements and movement efficiency. So what this boils down to is, how do you as a coach teach things such as, before this is predicated, you effectively, laid the base layer to your athletes, right? So for example, how do you teach the chest to bar butterfly pull-up? Well, this is, this conversation is predicated on the fact that you've taught your members how to do strict pull-ups. You've volumized strict pull-ups. We've done that gymnastic style kipping pull-up progression with the kip swing. We've volumized gymnastic kipping pull-ups, and then we've progressed to a deeper pull with the chest to bar. And now we're learning a new skill in the butterfly. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a skill, but you got to be able to teach it. No different than the, how do we cycle together multiple kipping muscle-ups? This is predicated in the fact that we've taught that deep ring pull with the false grip, with the transition, with a strict ring dip multiple. Then from there we taught a strict muscle-up. We have multiple strict muscle-ups. Then we go to kipping muscle-ups. And then we talk about how to string them together. How do we kip out of the dip? How do we tighten up the kip into multiple muscle-ups? Handstand push-ups. We could talk about how do we teach the kipping handstand push-up, bearing that all the way back to getting upside down for the first time, to getting people into the actual position for a handstand push-up negative, into a strict handstand push-up, into then kipping handstand push-ups once the volume is there. So And I know that I just hit you with a lot of information, but what I just walked you through was, for better or for worse, a progression. So one, you need to learn these skills. And the reason why this is on my mind is because I'm actually headed down to Conway, Arkansas, just outside of Little Rock, to do an advanced coaching concepts course. And myself and Eric O'Connor, we tweaked this course from what was the CrossFit Competitors course, and we tweaked it to essentially satisfy this need to get to coach coaches on their coaching of advanced athletes. Because most people, 99.9% of people, don't want to be competitors, but they do want to get better. They're human. So we as coaches need to get better. So thus we changed the name to Advanced Coaching Concepts. And in this past week, I've been preparing and prepping and going through my notes, and the course is really just set up to teach a couple of those progressions, which I already talked about, but also talk about programming and breaking through plateaus and nutrition and recovery. Essentially, everything that you do, hopefully, in a day, across a week at your gym, but how do we optimize it? How do we make it better for those athletes that are advanced? And advanced is a spectrum that can be from, I have a lot of members at Reebok CrossFit One, for example, that aren't necessarily advanced, but they've been doing CrossFit for almost 10 years. So their understanding of CrossFit is advanced. Their skills arguably are advanced. What I mean by that is there's not much they don't have from a capability perspective, which means I still have to get them better. I still have to work on efficiency tips and techniques and hacks, if you will. And I need to continually refine what I'm doing and so I can give them a better product. Or else, why are they coming to my class? Right? Are they just coming to the 12 o'clock class just because it's the time they work out? Well, maybe, but I hope that I can add some value to them. It's my goal. I don't think I achieve that all of the time, and I think that's unrealistic to think that you will every single class, but man, you got to try. So we need to set our classes up, and it's funny how the themes that come into this. Well, how do we do that? One, again, not a plug for the course I coach, but you got to learn. That's why we developed the course, and this is a passion of mine, and this is why I'm on a soapbox. Why I created this podcast is I truly believe that there are a few key guiding tenets that all coaches could follow. They could get so much better, and I love to help people with that. It gets me so excited. One, if people are willing to invest in themselves and therefore their craft and their people, time and money, I respect that, and I want to give them everything I have. So we created the course to help get you more skills as a coach. No different than how do you get more skills as an athlete. We got to get this stuff. We have to have ability to teach handstand walks, handstand push-ups, pistols, toe-to bars, barbell cycling, singles on the barbell, accessory work. How do we optimize recovery? What are the little tweaks of re-gripping the barbell? How do we hold the pull-up bar? Where do we put our hands? What do we do with our hips? How do we teach a progression of the butterfly pull-up? And if you're like, man, I don't know, then that's a huge hole in your coaching repertoire. Now, if it's day one of your gym, maybe you don't need that, but arguably nowadays you do. 10 years ago, you opened a gym, everyone walked in the gym and they started CrossFit for the first day with you. Now you open a gym and people come into your gym and they've been doing CrossFit for 5-10 years. Well, why are they going to come to your gym and why are they going to leave someone else's gym? Hopefully you're not being a real, tough business person around and undercutting prices. Maybe they're just like, I heard the coaching's better or whatever it might be, or it's closer to my home. And you need to give them something. And if you don't feel like you can coach advanced athletes, it has nothing to do with your ability to do something. And I'll hear this too. Well, what if I don't have the ability to do it? It has nothing to do with that. Your athletic ability has nothing to do with your ability to do that respective movement. It has everything to do with your ability to effectively teach it, see it, and correct it, which means you need a palatable progression. So, for example, if we're going to teach the handstand push-up, we need to teach a progression that can take you from 0 to 100%. 0 being not upside down at all. So maybe where we start in the plank position, we migrate to the piked plank position. Then we migrate from rocking from a heel all the way up to our toes and rocking forward and pushing our head through. Now loading up the shoulder a little more. Then from there, maybe we get to a tripod headstand. Right? Then from there, we get into a tripod headstand with the knees off the elbows, with the legs straight. Then from there, we do a kick up into a handstand. Then from there, we go down into a negative handstand push-up, for example. Then we meet in the middle. If we're teaching a kipping handstand push-up, we then go down from the handstand hold to the tripod position with the knees on the elbows. And now what do we have? We then kick and then punch. And there's your kipping handstand push-up. That's one little progression. By no means is it the only one or the best one, just one to use that you can take a full class through. And then how do you tighten it up? For your advanced athletes, we get them closer to the wall. Think thruster, think push press. So you shorten up the kip. You bring the knees down a little less. You bring your head away from the wall when you punch. You bring your head closer to the wall when you go down to the bottom of the rep. So break your elbows away from the wall, your head towards the wall. These are things that we're teaching. Butt goes back. Knees come down. These are just coaching cues and tips and tricks that you give to your advanced athletes, your veteran athletes, whatever you want to dub them. This is how we get them better. You need to prepare your butt off. Now, yeah, I can regurgitate this out, but I still need to prepare and practice. I can tell you, we did a workout the other day with strict knee to elbow. Weird one on the hand plan, but I really liked it. And I was coaching the noon after I took the class earlier in the day, and I was like, I know how to make the strict knee elbow harder, but if I'm doing 15 minutes of 10 reps plus other things, what if I look back? So I started to look back, and who would have thought my momentum made it easier? So I gave that little hack to my noon class, and I saw a lot of people doing it, and it helped them out. So I was able to give them something, and was it earth-shattering? No. Is it going to make them a better human being across their life? Probably not. But in the moment, it's like, wow, thanks. As an athlete, and I got to give those thank you moments to my athletes. So if you're losing members at 4 or 5 years in, it's because you're either not getting them better or they're not aware they're getting better. It's usually a combination of both. And it's got to be fun. It's got to be relaxed. It's got to be, but you got to push them. You have to demand them, when they're in your class, you have to give them everything you have, and they have to give you everything they have. It's a reciprocal relationship. So it doesn't have to be serious, and I say this all the time, remember there are days where you're not going to make many people better, if anyone. Statistically speaking, multiple people are going to walk into your class on a given day and not want to deal with anything, including you. They're just there for a workout. They want to shut it down. So you can't judge yourself on, did I make every single person better in some way, shape, or form across the hour? No. Did you give them the opportunity to get better? Did you? And if the answer is yes, you've probably done it right. This goes back to the notion why you cannot program multiple stuff across an hour if you're an effective teacher, if you're an effective coach. Because it takes time to walk people through a general warm-up, then a specific warm-up to build this stuff up, and then to hit the workout. There are days where it can be blended. We've talked about that, where if it's a shorter workout with a heavier barbell, and maybe with that heavy barbell, you let them load up and build up, and that's completely fine. But across a single hour, nobody's that good unless you're not coaching. It's different between hey, show up and just kind of work out, bro out. Let's just work out for an hour. But that's irresponsible as a trainer, so remember that. And also, you're going to be limiting their ceiling if you over-volumize and you don't teach. Because the more efficient we are, the better we move, the less wasted effort we have, which means we can get more work done in less time, which means we get more results. So with that said, we need to make sure we're continually refining, not building bad habits, pulling off the ground with a rigid back, jumping and landing appropriately, opening up that hip, locking those arms out. These are things that can be easily overlooked if you're just pushing through, powering through. And you're not coaching, you're just blowing the whistle. Planning, preparing, all of this stuff comes into play. Quite frankly, this is part of, me, why I love what I do is because I care about people that care. That's why we have the hand plan programming. We deliver lesson plans that are curated each day to optimize your hour so you can be a better coach, so you can keep your 5-year member. That's honestly, and this is, people ask me this question all the time, and I'm going off on a tangent here, but like, how do you work a lot, you work 7 days a week, you blah, 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 but like, it's such an honor to be a part of people's journey, whether it's from a programming perspective, being at a seminar, if you're listening to me, it still is a mind-blowing event for me. And I love to help. And the fact that I've been fortunate enough to find avenues that can help me earn my living, but also help others, I love that. Finding purpose and passion with what I'm doing, and the goal is to never stop getting better and refining. And as I'm preparing for this weekend coming up, it got me fired up. And I really think a lot of gyms I hear a lot of gyms that are shutting down, that are failing, that are closing. And it's oftentimes because you're just not a good enough coach. You've majored in the minors too long. Or you just completely don't know how to run a business, which means you've probably burned yourself out. But this is something you have to take seriously. When people say, why do I need my level 2? Why should I go to this course? I don't want to waste my time with you. When people are asking me, how do I become a better coach? What should I do? I want to spend all of my time with those individuals. That fires me up. Because that means you're doing the right things for the right reasons, and essentially doing them for the right people, the people that are coming to you because you care about them. You want to keep your veteran members, you need to get better, like anything. A product is cool on day 1. In a year, it's okay. In 2 years, it's old. In 3 years, it's forgettable, unless it's ever evolving. Look at technology, gang. Think about it. Think about your computer. I'm behind the camera looking at an Apple TV that's 5 years old, and it looks like archaic. I have those Alexa devices, and I have one of the old Alexa shows, and it looks like it's from the 1400s. It's 2 years old, yet the new ones look so much better. What does that say? You got to keep refining and getting better, or else you are dying, and your people will leave you. So you cannot die on the vine. Let's not let that happen. Find avenues and ways to get better. I hope this helped. I hope it wasn't too esoteric, but it fired me up. I'm getting ready for a course this weekend. It was on my mind, so I wanted to step on the soapbox. Episode 9, I think, if not episode 10. I appreciate it. Next week, I'm out actually in San Diego at the Trainer Summit. I'll bring the mic with me, and hopefully get someone good on the soapbox. We'll have some fun, and we'll see you out there.